All right, Junkie Nation, gorgeous Georgian goes back again on MMA Junkie Radio. We got another great guest. It's One Championships heavyweight champion, Arjan Bhullar, who defeated Brandon Vera this past week at One Championship Dangal. Welcome, Arjan. How are you? Congrats on the big W.
Thank you, man. Good to be here, guys.
Yeah, that was something else. I was watching the highlights, and boy, I tell you, man, your big right hand is what got things started, but the left was pretty damaging because it took a while to take down Brandon Vera, you know what I mean? But you got some really, really nice hands. Who do you credit that to? Who have you worked with at AK and the other gyms in developing your hands, being that you come from wrestling?
Yeah. Well, you know what? A few things. So first, it was funny because everyone's like, he's a wrestler. Then we started touching guys up on the hands. And we made a point of showing a blend of both because he's supposed to be a dangerous kickboxer. We wanted to make a point of beating him there and then beating him up on the ground as well. So glad it went that way. But it just basically, Vancouver and San Jose are my two bases. Vancouver, Jay Johnsey has worked extensively with me on my kickboxing and boxing. Second generation kickboxing family. His dad was a world champ. His brothers fought for the title against Petrosyan and Sidachai. He's up again now, Josh Johnsey. And then down at AKA, Javier Mendez, Hector, Rudy, those guys, usually I mix it up with them. So it's been great. And the biggest thing, like I said, was I have the specialist. It was, what's the best way to blend this? And that's where AK's paid dividends. You had Kane, you had DC. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel, man. I just, copycatted what they did and try to make it my own version,
Yeah, and you have very similar backgrounds. You all come from high-level wrestling, you and DC going to very, very high levels. But it seemed like a lot of the blend of wrestling and ground and pound, it all came together really nice. And another thing I wanted to ask you was, I noticed there was, when I was watching your hands, because he had this switch stance going on. He had a jab that you were kind of eating like no problem, I guess it was maybe resetting you, but I really liked your parrying game that you had a lot of the time that I think confused him because you weren't where he thought you would be.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of those things where I try to do a lot of feints. I try to keep the head moving and just fluid the whole time. And the parrying comes over, a lot from the wrestling. I was a great hand fighter, what you call it in wrestling. And so my hands I'm always used to keep my hands active with my feet connected. And yeah, I didn't feel his jab landed much. I got a couple times, but I felt I saw everything, and I was just so relaxed. We could have gone 5 rounds like that all day,
Well, when you smell blood, you definitely went for it. I'm sure you're getting a lot of a lot of nice words and a lot of kind messages from people, but I saw DC give you one. He's really, really tight with you, and he's obviously one of the legends of the game, but that must have been one of the sweeter ones that you got. He was giving you your props. He had just finished some work himself, but can you talk about that bond you created with him and Kane and some of the other guys? I mean, that's been a championship factory over there in San Jose.
Absolutely. AKA is one of the pioneer gyms. It's the oldest. It's the OG gym that's been kicking around. ATT's been around for a minute too, but a lot of gyms come and go, but AKA's remain steadfast through it all. And Kane, DC, these guys were guys that came from a similar background. King Mo was there. He's instrumental in bringing me down initially. A guy named Sean Bunch. I got to give these guys the shout outs, But yeah, they know what they're doing. You look at all the guys, you got the Russians coming through. You had Luke, you got Koss, Swick, you had Fitch, you had all these guys. Frank Shamrock, obviously, just the who's who of the sport. So they know what they're doing, and it's funny. It's funny because today's actually 4 years to the day that I signed my UFC contract, and we broke waves there, being the first of Indian descent in the company there. So. And another milestone now in my life. So we're just rolling one thing after the other. And DC really touched on that in his call to me. We had a private conversation. It was phenomenal. And just basically, spoke about the whole journey from wrestling as a kid, being 19, 20 years old around him at the Olympic Training Center, to following him at AKA, and this, he ended the call with just saying, "Hey, welcome to the club, man." So that felt great.
Champ, I want to talk a little bit about strategy. In watching the fight, after about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, I thought to myself, Brandon Vera's in a lot of trouble right now, because he basically gave you a lot of his attack that he's used to being, very powerful and very quick, but none of it was working, and he couldn't set up the counters that he wanted to. It seems like he gave you his best, and you just threw it right back at him. Right around that moment, were you able to was that the beginning process of breaking him?
Yeah, it was just the first minute or two to kind of see. We planned for exactly that, and it worked out beautifully. I saw everything. He likes to switch stances. We were ready for that. He likes to keep it rangy, counter, all of those things. So we took those away from him, and I was cutting the ring on him and just basically putting a noose around his neck, and it was just a matter of time. And I could feel him fatiguing, and his breath was starting to panic, and his motion was starting to slow, and he was being hesitant and second guessing, and he looked confused out there. And then when I was hitting him, I could hear him making noises. It was hurting him every time. So the end was near.
Have you already sat down with the promotion and talked about what's next? Because Brandon Vera has a big following. I'm sure people want to see a rematch, but does it have to happen right away? Can it happen further down the line?
We'll see. We'll see where we're at. They asked me. I called Kang Ji-won, and that was for a reason. But Vera's been around. He's been a great ambassador for the company and for the division and for the Philippines. For sure, if he wants to get it on again, there's no problem. Next time we'll get him out of there a little sooner. I think that Kimura that he latched on saved him in the first round, to be quite honest with you.
I did want to ask you, what is your status with One Championship? Is that now home, obviously, because you're the champ? Because, when you did fight in the UFC, you brought up the UFC earlier, you had a 3-on-1 run, but you obviously moved on to another promotion. What is your goal to do? What I think a lot of fighters noticed started doing is grabbing multiple belts in different organizations. Like, let's go back to DC. He's a Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix champion and also a 2-division champion in the UFC. Now you got a championship belt at One Championship. Is that home for the duration? Like, do you feel at home there? Or do you think eventually you would like to maybe test other waters going down, the rest of your career?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm always looking for another challenge and to make history and grow. And Vera tried to go down. He was unsuccessful. So there's never been someone from One that's gone down and got light heavyweight belt. Definitely that's on the radar, and that's something I would want to do. Immediately, no. I want to defend this. And we actually got some stuff cooking in the oven with pro wrestling as well. But that is on the radar. I'm always looking for new exciting stuff rather than rinse and repeat.
We all know that you're from Vancouver, Canada. You're an Indo-Canadian champion, and they spoke a lot about you being the first champion that, represents India as well. India's going through a lot. What does this mean for you to be able to, do something on the sporting front to bring some smiles to a country that's having some tough times? And has this affected any family and friends that you may have there? If so, obviously our prayers are with you and your family. Yeah,
absolutely. We've been helping out in India, and it's devastating out there. The more help they can get, the better. The healthcare system has just been overrun. You got people that they can't even get dignified funerals. Like they can't find places for them to cremate bodies. So it's crazy out there right now. And every contact we have out there is either directly or one of their family members is dealing with a COVID-related issue. So it's literally, devastating on the ground, and we have been helping. And in the coming week or two, I'll be announcing additional help. I want to make sure that's my give back. I've been blessed with this victory and given this platform and given so much in my life. I want to give back, and it's going to be that.
Well, we'll be keeping an eye on your social media so we can assist in getting the word out. I think that's tremendous. And hopefully some point, because I know One Championship is really, really big on taking their athletes, and going to the countries. Like I know Ong, for example, is huge in Miramar, excuse me. And obviously, when he goes back there, he gets a great reception. And hopefully, when COVID goes away, you can get a similar reception like that as well, because I think that's tremendous. First heavyweight champion for Indian MMA. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Absolutely. If you take a look at One's recent post on Instagram, it'll show you some of the reactions in the country, and it's been tremendous. I can't wait to go there. The plan was to take the belt directly into the village, where my family comes from, where our family home still is, and celebrate there. But they partied nonetheless, and I can't wait to hook up with everyone on the ground very, very soon.
Definitely. And do you plan on defending the title like frequently? You know, I'm sure there's got to be one more in 2021. But do you want them to line them up, or how do you want to approach this?
Say that again.
As far as your frequency of defending the belt, is this something you want to do? Like, hey, start lining them up. I want to be an active champion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This was the longest layoff I've had of my entire life since I was a little toddler. From competition. I'm not used to sitting around for a year plus. I want to compete. So that's going to happen, and that's going to happen quick. I just want to enjoy this for now. I finally got out of quarantine and get some fresh air, some sunlight, and we'll get back into it.
Yeah, because definitely, look, we love Brandon Vera, but, there was long spells where he didn't defend. And so it'd be nice if one championship could get an active champion. And I could have the same criticism for Bellator as well. Or maybe even Strikeforce going back when Alistair Overeem had the belt. The big guys is what everybody celebrates in combat sports. And so hopefully, again, you can be an active champion. That would be awesome. But for the time being, you did the job. Enjoy it. And we want to thank you very much for your time here on MMA Junkie.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'll be in action real soon. I appreciate the support from you guys, everyone around the world. Big things coming. 1 billion strong.